What's up, A to Z Sports Live on a Monday morning, another victory Monday morning for the Tennessee Titans as they get to 2-2 with a dominant win over the Cincinnati Bengals and exercise a lot of those demons from the franchise up in Cincinnati, Ohio, with a win 27-3, thumping over the Joe Burrow and the Bengals. And so we've got a lot to talk about. This game was not at all what I expected. Zach, I always wear my BetMGM shirt the Monday after BetMGM takes care of business versus me on the weekend. Yeah, rocking BetMGM because I put 3 units on Bengals money line, and that never had a chance. So we'll talk about what the Titans were able to do.
They only scored
Sunday.
3 points.
I know, 3 units, 3 points, me losing. So we're going to have a good show here on this conversation to talk about what the Titans did offensively in bouncing back from losing 27-3 just 7 days prior in Cleveland. Who does this win say more about, the Titans or the Bengals, for different reasons? We'll talk about Derrick Henry, who set some history yesterday. We've got some good comments from Mike Vrabel, Ryan Tannehill, and Derrick Henry that we'll talk about throughout the show. And can Derrick Henry continue to set history and make history this season in his last contract year with the Titans? But Zach, welcome in. Hope your Sunday went well for you.
I had the opposite of you. I had one of my better weekends that I've had in a long time. I had a plus 360 parlay last night with the Jets, thanks to Patrick Mahomes sliding down and ending that game. So I hit 3 parlays yesterday. I had a pretty good day. Pretty good day. So, but look, good times don't last, hard times don't last. So that's the ups and downs, but we always love BetMGM affording that ability to us. We are broadcasting finally, for the good Lord above, on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. So we're back on Facebook. Zuckerberg decided to, well, he still doesn't.
No, we broke out of jail, right?
Yeah, well, we digress. There are ways. This is the Shawshank Redemption. We've been chopping away with the silver spoon trying to get out, but we are back. We've got more audience and more ability, and we will tweet out or X out, however you want to say, those YouTube links on our X/Twitter account at A to Z Sports. Keep us locked in. We are growing over there on Twitter, which is great. We get Titans content, video content, interaction. So follow us at A to Z Sports on Twitter/X and subscribe to our YouTube channel. YouTube has been the most reliable resource to date. We'll go ahead and knock on wood, but that has been a reliable resource for us. So subscribe to our YouTube channel. We've been locked in for some time there. We will continue to be locked in there. We've got a great community over there on YouTube. If you've already subscribed, make sure you like this video. That helps out the algorithm, gets more Titans fans involved. And there should be a little bit more Titans fans out there after yesterday's big win, 27-3 over the Bengals. We are also on Facebook now, back again. Bottom left corner of your screen, share now to public. Sharing is caring and caring is sharing, as we say on this show. So share the show around, and we will get this party started on a Monday morning.
Yep, let's do it officially. Welcome into A to Z Sports, powered as always by the BetMGM app. I'm Austin Stanley. He is Zach Bingham. Make sure you follow us all over social media, as we are Nashville's on-demand sports talk network, going live weekday mornings at 8 Central Time on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Links to the show segment by segment on our Twitter X timeline. Also, hit us up on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads for more great Titans content. We got to thank our sponsors because they make it happen for us and they help out all of you, like Wilson County Hyundai, WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Make them a part of your new car buying process. So go see them in Lebanon. The Bone and Joint Institute, boneandjointtn.org, the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care. Farm Bureau Health Plans. Get better with Farm Bureau Health Plans. Better rates, coverage, and service at fbhp.com/ATOZ. The Aura app, keeping everybody safe online. You can get a 2-week free trial with our link, aura.com/ATOZ. And Krebs Kubota, an elite Kubota dealer with 3 great locations across Middle Tennessee, in Columbia, Franklin, and in Murfreesboro. Their website is krebskubota.com. I did want to get to a comment real quick because somebody asked, Kenneth asked, what bar are you at for the pregame shows, for the game day shows? So we are live at Acme Feed and Seed on the rooftop for the home games. So that's not going to be for a while. It's the Falcons game coming up later October, Halloween weekend. But for all
Which
the
is
home
Oilers
games,
weekend.
yeah, that's right. Oilers throwback weekend and reunion weekend right there. So we'll be live at Acme. Being at Acme is a lot of fun. It's the best place in my opinion to watch a Titans game when they're playing right across the river, because I started watching Bengals fans flow from Nissan Stadium to Broadway right at halftime. That's when they hit the pedestrian bridge to make their way over. Had a video out there on Twitter that showed that, but a great day. Hey, me and Jack, the Titans are 2-0 when we're at Acme. Just saying. They're 0-2 when we're not at Acme. Just saying. So how about that for all of your little bit stitious people out there? But Zach, I had a post-game show to react to, really reacting to a win at the halftime show yesterday on our Facebook and YouTube channels. What was one word? I'll toss it to you out of the gates. One word to describe how you felt about the Titans thumping the Bengals 27-3. Then we'll get to some of these conversations that Vrabel and Tannehill had as well.
Well, my one word actually goes to what you were just saying and describing, bar, because I think it set a bar of how the Titans can play offensively and defensively and on special teams and coaching. And I tweeted that out. I thought that the first half was spectacular, just like all Titans fans and everybody watching that game. The Titans leaned into their identity. They ran the football. They protected the passer and they protected the football. Tannehill's late interception is what it is, whatever, right? But overall, they played Titan football and they got the ball out of Ryan Tannehill's hands into some playmakers, right? And Traylon Burks didn't even play, but DeAndre Hopkins, NWI got in on it. You saw a plethora of offensive players. And Austin, I will sprinkle this because this is something new that they have not had in the past, which is the X factor, and I will say X factor of Tajay Spears. Yeah. Because when Derrick Henry is running the football well, that puts the defense on skates anyway, right? But now you have this 2-punch, right? The one is 22, but that 1-2 punch is Tajay Spears that is dynamic. He can break tackles. He's fast. He's elusive. He can get first downs. Even with the mistake of the bobbled handoff, he turned nothing into something. And I was very impressed and have been. And it has, look, we talked about that early on in the year. How were they going to use Tajay Spears? Tim Kelly likes Tajay Spears. We've seen that from the offense so far. And then defensively, ball hawking. You saw them play together, whether it was the offensive line. You got some exterior outside linebackers in on the action that we haven't seen over the last couple of weeks. Jeffrey Simmons had to get kind of calmed down by Mike Vrabel early on because him and Joe Mixon were jabbing and jawing. But the secondary played well. The linebacking core played well, and Al-Shaair. So there was a lot of great things, but I say bar because if the Titans play that way for 4 quarters, they're going to be a tough opponent to beat, especially at home. And we always say they are jockeying in the long run to win the division and host a home playoff game. They keep playing like this, they can be a force, but they can't play like they did last week against Cleveland. That's right. A Jekyll and Hyde, complete polar opposite football team.
Well, they've been like that week 1 and week 2, and then week 3 and week 4, completely Jekyll and Hyde. So they got to find some consistency. But my one word, Zach, was reminiscent, because it was reminiscent of a time, the last time the Titans beat the highest paid player in football in Nissan Stadium was 27-3, the Titans over the Chiefs. And then a couple seasons ago, and now they beat the best player, the highest paid, not the best player, but the highest paid player currently in Joe Burrow, 27-3 Nissan Stadium. Reminiscent was my one word, but it also reminiscent of the way the Titans have won games, and that's kind of what a juiced up Mike Vrabel had to say after that game.
Just looking at what we needed to do was get into the drive, get the first down, how critical that was, allow things to flow, allow the play passes to work. Some of the stuff that we had schemed or game plan for them really allows that to mature and gives it a chance. We were able to run the football. We were able to run the football. We were not able to run the football against them, last year. And we won one-on-one. There were times where we blocked them and, they pressured and Tajay stepped up, blocked the guy, lost his helmet. The guy must have got frustrated, hit the quarterback late. When we went out on routes, we won one-on-one. And, for the most part, we were able to take care of the ball, and we did some great things in the red zone.
The great things in the red zone. Titans scored points and touchdowns when they got in the red zone, and then Nick Folk kicked a couple field goals. He has been pretty damn good for the Titans so far. I do want to get to a super chat and a comment about Ryan Tannehill that Nathaniel did nail when he talked about something last week, an aspect of how the Titans can win. But first, Krebs Kubota, that is where you should turn for all of your equipment needs. KrebsKubota.com is their website. They are an elite Kubota dealer, which means they have the best equipment in the industry and the best customer service in the industry. And one more, the best warranties in the industry too, because being in line with the Kubota brand is a big deal for you, the customer. Also, working with the Krebs family, the family-owned and operated locations in Murfreesboro, Columbia, and Franklin, that's another win for you, the customer, because they're going to help you out. Whatever your situation is, whatever project, however much land you have with your property, they've got the equipment for you and the right way to do it for cost effectiveness and for warranties whenever something might go wrong, because you never know what's going to happen when you're using that much power out there on your property. So find them out right there. KrebsKubota.com is the site. KrebsKubota.com.
A to Z Sports, we are powered by BetMGM. We love BetMGM. I love BetMGM a little bit more than Austin does today after the weekend. So when he's wearing that shirt, that means
I lost.
You're paying.
Tajay over 19.5 was my lone win on Sunday.
Well, hey, one's
I had
better
some Saturday
than none,
wins. It wasn't all bad,
as they say. So bonus code ATOZ Sports. New users get in on the action. They are the king of sports books.
All right, so I do want to get to this because Nathaniel said this in a super chat. Being at the game, it was great to finally see Tannehill under center. It actually opens up plays in shotgun. Nathaniel had a good comment last week about the sacks happening when Tannehill was in shotgun, not being able to be successful with the play action game, and being able to run the football, like Vrabel said, stay out of second and third and long, allowed for play action passes to work very well. And that's kind of what Ryan Tannehill had to say after the game as well about this offensive output.
Yeah, we came out and responded. Obviously wanted to get things going early, and we were able to do that. Guys came out, played with a purpose from the first snap, played our style of ball, both offense and defense. So proud of our guys, though we came out, responded, battled throughout the game, and ultimately came out to win.
What kind of kick started you there? I mean, the first drive was pretty good, but then you had those 3 straight long touchdown drives. Was it mainly being able to hit chunk plays that did it, or what went into those drives?
I think we were efficient. I think we ran the ball well. We kept ourselves, ahead of the sticks. We never got into third and long situations, or rarely got into third and long situations. And if you do that, you feel good about the plan. You feel good about having answers and our matchups. So, look back at last week, we were in a lot of third and long situations. So, if we can be efficient on first, second down, keep ourselves ahead of the sticks, then it opens up everything for us, and we're able to extend drives and ultimately score more points.
So there's Tannehill, score more points, extend drives because they were successful on first down. And Zach, they were successful on third down because they were in third down and manageable, not third and long. 8 of 13 on third down yesterday for the Titans. It was pretty impressive. And the title of the show, it whipped the Bengals back to Cincinnati in the most Titans way possible, running the football, play action pass, explosive plays in the passing game and in the running game, and the Titans are 2-2. Big deal.
Well, and I've said when they lose 2-12 on third down, you just mentioned how much better it was on third down. You know how Vrabel says he's got those 3 keys. My key is third down performance. I think that justifies whether you're in the red zone and you're getting 3 or 7 versus 7 points, or whether you're punting the football. Your third down percentage is, I think, it correlates to the outcome of the football game. What really stood out to me, though, was not necessarily what Tannehill said, but more about what Vrabel said. Because I think Vrabel went back into the vault and he looked at last year's Bengals-Titans game. And that game was a turning point in the season, if you remember, right? Because that started their losing streak.
That's right.
Right? It started their losing streak. They lost 20-16. It was a close matchup. But one thing that Vrabel said on last year's game, he says we couldn't run the football. You know how many rushing yards the Tennessee Titans, a running football team, had in that game?
Last year, I do not remember.
63.
Ugh.
Titans ain't gonna win many football games when their team rushes for 63 yards. This was a completely different story. And it was kind of funny because the Bengals came out and they ran the ball effectively with Joe Mixon. I thought that it was kind of, it was a huge stop to get them out of the end zone and only hold, the Bengals to 3. And after that, I thought it was going to be just a back and forth type game, and it wasn't. And it was because the Titans could establish the run, extend drives. They had one of the longest drives in franchise history, they said, or at least in the season.
The longest drive in the season this year in the NFL, 10 minutes and 22 seconds. The longest time of possession drive in the Titans franchise in over 20 years.
Yeah, so 20 years. So that's fair. But that tells you when you have those type drives and you're playing the Tennessee Titans, they're really, really tough to beat. And I felt like it was good for Ryan Tannehill. It was good for Mike Vrabel. And what did Mike Vrabel say last week after they got their ass kicked? It's a long season. Let's not overreact. We had a lot of people overreacting last week, like the sky was falling and that everything was going to. That's not how Mike Vrabel coaches. And I think that's what makes him such a superb leader of men, right? To say, all right, it is what it is, but let's go and perform much better. Two different football teams. The Browns of what they were last week compared to the Bengals and what they represent this year are two different football teams. But that was an impressive performance by the Tennessee Titans.
I mean, that's the league, right? It's a week-to-week league in the NFL because the Miami Dolphins score 70 points a week ago, and then they just get absolutely bludgeoned against the Buffalo Bills on the road. So it is a week-to-week league. No matter what you do one week, it doesn't mean it's going to carry over whatsoever to the next week. And the Titans are the perfect example of that through 4 games where they're sitting there with no touchdowns in 2 of the games and then 27 points a game in the other 2 games. So there are issues, right? The Titans have issues. It wasn't perfect, but it was a great win and nobody should be complaining about this win. And we're not going to do that today, but the Bengals have massive problems. They started 0-2. They get past the Rams on Monday Night Football to get to 1-2. Looks like they start to turn some things around, but here you go again. The Bengals look like they could be, reeling in pain. So let's ask this question, Zach. I'm curious to see what everybody thinks about this. Was Sunday's 27-3 final score more about the Titans or more about the Bengals? Because it said a lot about both, but which did it say more about? The Bengals issues or the Titans figuring it out? So I find that to be an interesting question to see what people are saying. But first, tell everybody about Farm Bureau Health Plans.
Yeah, FBHP.com is where to go to get your new health plan. I got my new health plan, and I love my health plan. I truly do. It's helped me in different circumstances, and we all have circumstances when it comes to our health, whether it's just going to an urgent care or something more serious. You want to make sure that you have the right health plan for you and your family. They've got coverage for you individually, but they also have coverage for whether it's your husband, wife, kids, your whole family. 200 plus locations across the state of Tennessee, and they can be relied on. They've been reliable for over 75 years. Health, dental, and vision. You take a quick health assessment, then you get a quote. There's no pressure to join. You don't have to, but I will say you should get a quote to make that decision for you and your family. And most importantly, or I wouldn't say most importantly, but it's a big deal for your pocketbook because I saved 20% when I switched. So I'm getting better coverage at a lesser cost for you, me and my family. You can do the same thing. That is health, dental, and vision. That's Farm Bureau Health Plans of Tennessee, FBHP.com/ATOZ.
And with BetMGM, whenever there's a pro football game that night, you can take advantage of that with our bonus code ATOZ200. That's ATOZ200 when you sign up with BetMGM. All you got to do, put a $10 moneyline wager on any pro football team to win, and you get $200 in bonus bets instantly. It doesn't even matter what that moneyline wager does. You're going to get $200 instantly in bonus bets every time when you sign up with our code ATOZ200. Visit betmgm.com for terms and conditions. 21 or older. Tennessee only. New customer offer. All promotions are subject to qualification and eligible requirements. First online rule money wager only. Rewards issued knowledgeable bonus bets. Bonus bets expiring 7 days. And for problem game support, call Tennessee Red Line 800-889-9789. Zach, I'll toss it to you to go to the chat. Did yesterday's 27-3 final score say more about the Titans or more about the Bengals? I'm curious to where the chat's going to.
Yeah, and I like this question because it's not all or none, right? But it's more, right? And as Titans fans, you got to kind of sit there and take a look in the mirror and say, who are the Titans and who are the actual Bengals? So more about the Bengals, more about the Titans. Let's go to the chat. Steven starts us off. He says, that was more about the Bengals. Lou Man says Titans. Stephen King says Titans. Eric then goes Bengals. John Foster says it's more about the Titans. Tom says the Titans are like the Tower of Terror ride, which I think most of us have ridden at one point in our lives. I have. Have you?
Yeah, once.
Right? Once. Same.
I don't need a second time for that one.
No, I'm good. But, I think that's a good analogy there from Tom. IR says more about the Bengals. Michael says more about the Bengals. Dre says more about the Titans. Lane says more about the Bengals. So we're kind of getting close. There's back and forth. Zoe, more about the Bengals. Nathaniel goes more about the Titans. Token says Titans. EZ Ball says Bengals. Bengals issues from David. Eric says Titans, I'm hoping, but is not sure. I think there's some skepticism there. Eric, different, one with a C, one with a K, says these are more about the Bengals issues. Mark D says Titans. Brad says Bengals. Hello, ladies, says Titans. Kelly's best game plan by far, talking about Tim Kelly, the offensive coordinator. And Johnny says Titans. Jason brings up Andre Dillard, who I think we probably should touch on maybe later in the show.
Sure.
In the offensive line overall. Nate's Burner says the Bengals. Mark goes in between, combo of both. So Mark, that does not count. You've got to answer the question.
I've seen a couple people say that I know I'm breaking the rules, like Ricochet Ray. I was like, I know I'm breaking the rules, but why can't it be both?
Because it's not. That's not how the game works. It's more. One has. It could be 0.5% more. It's still more.
Yes, it could be 50.1% more about one team and 49.9% about the other. So Zach, I think this says more about the Bengals. I think the Bengals are in big trouble. I think they are going to whiff on the playoffs. I think they're basically done. They're out. The Bengals' outcome of the season has been decided in my mind. The division they play in has two teams that are really, really tough football teams that are getting more out of their quarterbacks and out of their offenses as a whole in the Cleveland Browns and the Baltimore Ravens. I know the Browns did not have Deshaun Watson with whatever he had creep up over the weekend where he was out for that game, and the Ravens coasted to a win there too. But the Browns already have a win over Cincinnati. The Bengals are sitting here at 1-3, with the one win being against an NFC team in the LA Rams. Pittsburgh's not just an easy team to walk over, even though the Texans did that yesterday. But we've seen Pittsburgh play really good defense, and they can beat anybody, really. And so I think the Bengals are missing the playoffs. I think this is a massive issue. Their offensive line is not good. They can't stop the run. And when they can't stop the run and you don't have a good offensive line, you're going to give up points and give up time of possession and then have to throw the football a lot more, which takes Joe Mixon out of the game, and you're going to get sacked a bunch. And your quarterback started the year hurt. He's going to stay hurt. I don't care what Joe Burrow can say last week of every week it doesn't have a setback, it gets stronger. It didn't look very good. He is awful when it comes to throwing the football down the field. They had 2 plays of 17 yards as their longest plays yesterday against the Titans defense that all they do is give up X plays, but they couldn't get one. I think this says more about the Bengals because I don't think there's a solution to fixing their problems as long as Joe Burrow doesn't get time to heal this calf injury.
So I was going to go with it's more about Joe Burrow's calf because I think that singularly, you could talk about the Bengals.
But I'll say this, but what if you mentioned how many rushing yards did the Titans have last season against the Bengals?
63.
The Bengals defense is not the same Bengals defense. When the
but they're still good. I mean, come on.
But no, they're not. Like they're not at stopping the run. They're not. Before yesterday, they were giving up over 5 yards a carry. Before yesterday. Now that's probably even higher.
Well, their offense is not putting them in good positions. They're constantly on the field.
But
I mean, look at the Bengals. The Bengals offense is hurting the Bengals defense.
Yeah, but they've played 4 games and 3 teams have run for more than 170 yards on this defense. And so they're not stopping it. Yeah, they're wearing down. That does play a factor. And I get your point there.
That's the point.
But previously they were really stout against Derrick Henry. They were able to stop Derrick Henry, bottle him up, not let him have those broken tackle runs where he runs for 20 plus yards. And they can't do that anymore. They don't have the same thump up front than they used to have when they were beating the Titans year after year. Somebody commented this earlier. I forget who it was, but it was a really good comment. Not having Jesse Bates is a big deal for the Bengals. Jesse Bates was a Kevin Byard type piece of the Bengals defense that kind of let everything else in front of him flow. And so this Bengals defense has problems. Joe Burrow's calf is a problem, and the offensive line still isn't any good, even after they've tried to fix it for the last 2 years.
So I said going to go about Joe Burrow's calf, but you actually look at how the Titans played, whatever. And Austin, I'll use your words. Any given Sunday, right? You said that earlier in the show. Any team can beat any team. They're all good football teams.
Those aren't my words.
The Cardinals can beat the Cowboys after a week that the Cowboys are dominating still. The Jets can be within 3 points of the defending Super Bowl champions with Zach Wilson at helm, right? So anything can happen. These are good football teams. The Bengals, they're playing in the NFL. Here's where I think it's bigger and more about the Titans. The Titans had 3 things. I go back. It was the only thing I tweeted yesterday. Offense, defense, and coaching. That's why I think it was more about the Titans. It showed Tannehill. Austin, if Tannehill had another bad game, a 3-pick performance, not being able to move the ball, only less than 10 points. Austin, we're starting to talk. And that Malik Willis, Will Levis conversation is starting to creep in. It is. And that's why that is one of many reasons it's more about the Titans.
Well,
there was some pressure on Ryan Tannehill.
Sure,
no matter, it had gotten to the point where it's no longer just the first week of the year, right? You're now a semi-quarter because of the 17th game, but you're a quarter of the way in. And if Ryan Tannehill doesn't put up a performance that Titans fans have seen before, win this recipe, I also think it's big for, let's just face it, DeAndre Hopkins to see Derrick Henry at full scope. Your best offensive weapon showcasing your second best offensive weapon in DeAndre Hopkins of this is how we're going to help each other. And this is just on the offensive side of the football, Austin. I was super impressed with the tenacity of the defense. They were ball hawking. They were quarterback sacking. And, yes, some of that was Joe Burrow's calf, but this defense I felt like played like a notorious Titans defense. And I thought that was big. And then, I know we've seen some comments because I've seen you star them in the comment section. Tim Kelly. I think this was more also about Tim Kelly proving to not only probably himself and Mike Vrabel, but the entire league and franchise of the Tennessee Titans and Miss Amy that, hey, I can put this together and put a good game plan together and have it all come together. My one word was bar. That's why it's more about the Titans, because the Titans needed to set a bar early in the year to say, and where Mike Vrabel could come into the meeting room and point to the whiteboard and say, we know how to play. We've played there before, but you had to see it to believe it. And that's why I think it's more about the Titans.
I get that. I mean, I still think it's more about the Bengals because you kind of floated out there. If Ryan Tannehill had another awful day, which would probably been, if he played bad again, then it would be that game, the Saints game. The Browns game really wasn't his fault. He was running for his life for the most part, but you start to hear the Malik Will Levis conversation going, right? I don't know what's going to be happening in Cincinnati, but the Cincinnati Bengals have the Arizona Cardinals, I believe, coming up next. I think the Cardinals could beat the Bengals the way they look right now. And then you're looking at, do you put Joe Burrow on IR and then go from there and see what happens? Yeah. for 4 weeks or longer to let the calf get healed and then see where you're at there, because the Bengals cannot afford to lose any more games like this, or they're going to continue to fall deeper into a hole into the AFC North, where the Ravens and the Browns are going to continue to win games each week when they're not playing each other. And so that's where I think I think the Bengals are teetering on the edge of what's the best long-term versus saving this year. And
but there's no better time of facing the Arizona Cardinals, because I think the Cardinals are not as bad as I think originally thought. And that's Joshua Dobbs. I watched, because I had money on the first half, which I hit, 49ers Cardinals. The Cardinals were fighting. They were scrapping. Yeah, and Dobbs has them playing in a unique way that I think Colt McCoy that we've seen in the past just hasn't been able to do, right? Yeah. The backups behind Murray when he's been hurt.
Yeah, I did favor some comments, like you said, Zach, to get to some of these and these other topics that, we need to give some attention to some other aspects of this game. We'll do that here in a second with your comments. But first, Aura can keep you safe online on your digital platforms. Aura is how to do that. They've done it for me. I signed up with Aura back in April. Quickly, Aura identified 30 data brokers who were profiting off of selling my information to telemarketers, spammers, and robocallers. Aura ripped my information away from those 30 data brokers in like 5 or 6 days. We're going to give you a 2-week free trial with our link, aura.com/ATOZ. Zach, you've done it. A lot of people in A to Z's company have done it. A lot of you guys watching have done it. Aura.com/ATOZ to stay safe online. Get rid of those robocalls and those spam emails from your life, and also figure out the password manager and protector, credit identity theft monitoring as well. All the different services that Aura serves up with our 2-week free trial at aura.com/ATOZ.
A to Z Sports, we're powered by BetMGM. Use the bonus code ATOZ Sports if you are a new user. They got you covered, and they're hooking you up. You get up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if your first bet misses. That's for new users who use our bonus code ATOZ Sports. That's A to Z Sports. We love BetMGM. We ride with BetMGM. We hit parlays with BetMGM. Download the app today.
All right, I'm going to get some comments that I liked, but first a super chat that I don't like. Kane says elite, and that's maybe the one word. He says, y'all said this was a loss when the schedule dropped, which was in May. Joe Burrow and his elite QB hasn't lived up to the hype the media has given him. Kane, he's hurt. Dude, Joe Burrow is hurt and is playing on one calf and is beating your ass, the Tennessee Titans, in every other game that he's played when he's been healthy. When schedule drops in May, that's a tough matchup. But give me a freaking break on that, Kane. Understand some nuance and actual details and context of something before you just.
Yeah, it hasn't lived up to the hype. I mean, he took them to a Super Bowl. Not many quarterbacks have taken their team to a Super Bowl. So just that. I know they lost, but
dumb.
Here's my last reason why it's more about the Titans, Austin. And you actually brought up something that I had in the back of my mind. I think it's also big for the Titans to see that they can beat the Bengals regardless of Joe Burrow's injury, because the Bengals aren't going away. Joe Burrow just signed a contract. He's not going away. The Titans and the Bengals are going to be competitors in the AFC for years to come. And you don't want it to come down to an AFC championship game in Cincinnati, Titans-Bengals years from now, and they still hadn't beaten Joe Burrow. So that's why it's more about the Titans as well.
Yeah,
I think that's a factor.
Ryan says, just hold your L, Austin. I don't know what.
There you go. Hey, Ryan. There you go.
All right.
Hold your L just like LSU did.
Yeah, because I lost a bet. Cool. I lose bets every weekend, but I win. I've been winning a lot more.
I don't think he was talking about your bet. I think he was talking about the back and forth of you choosing that it was more about the Bengals. I was choosing more about the Titans.
Oh, yeah. I'm not afraid. I think it was great. We're going to talk more about this week about what this means for the Titans moving forward. This is huge. Don't get me wrong. Just because I answered that says more about the Bengals doesn't mean I don't think it was a great win and a well-deserved win and an earned praise on the Titans side of things, because we're about to do some of that here. LeVar says Titans showed the formula to how to win on yesterday. We do the winning formula with the Adventure Science Center in every post-game show. The Titans checked 2 out of the 3 boxes of running for more yards, having the better quarterback rating, and they were even on the turnover battle for Mike Vrabel's formula there. And then a couple of other comments here. Ken says, I would like to give Tim Kelly his flowers. He called a hell of a game yesterday. And Jamie says, didn't y'all notice what Tim Kelly did different in the run game? It's Kelly's scheme also. Did we look predictable yesterday? No, those plays look different.
Let's stop here, Austin.
Yeah.
Here's just a man-to-man in the chat. They're involved. They've been a part of this show for a long, long time, just as long as we have. What do you think about these toss plays? Because this is the new era of Tim Kelly, and he did it multiple times. And it's funny. So I was in Oxford, Mississippi over the weekend watching an incredible game.
Watching a basketball game?
Huh? Essentially 100 points. It was awesome. I mean, what an atmosphere. It was a great win. I went to Ole Miss. It was a great weekend. But what Lane Kiffin does with Judkins and their running backs is that toss. I saw Tim Kelly. It was like he was watching the LSU Ole Miss game. What do you think about that play and the use of it? Because you've been very anti-toss. And now I thought you saw some success with a toss scheme in yesterday's game.
They did. They did have success with a couple toss plays. Now, there is a difference in a pitch and a toss. A pitch is uses some misdirection and is quicker. A toss is a more reverse out from the quarterback, longer flowing thing to get to the outside. The toss plays have not been working for the majority of Derrick Henry's career. They had a couple yesterday. The first one went for like 1 or 2 yards on 3rd and short, and that was successful. Then they ran a toss out of the shotgun that I actually liked.
That's the play I'm talking
and
about.
That was a different one, right? Like usually these toss plays that I bitch and moan about every freaking week since 2020 season is typically because Ryan Tannehill's under center. He takes the long count and he does the long reverse out toss to Derrick Henry and the middle linebackers. I talked about this with Sam. I think it was Wednesday or Friday. The linebackers immediately just flow to Derrick Henry, and Derrick Henry doesn't have the ability to read the middle linebackers. Well, the quick toss out of the shotgun, I think, caught some of the Bengals defenders out of not expecting that, and it worked. And that was good, to see there because I had not necessarily seen it from the shotgun like they did a couple times yesterday.
So let's go to some starred comments. I saw
Tim Kelly very good.
Yeah. Setting the bar. Tim Kelly set the bar yesterday. That's why I thought that was very important for Tennessee. AJ brings this up, which is another conversation. What about NWI's performance? These are positives. I thought NWI thrown into a situation he's been thrown in time and time again because they haven't had the athletes per se, but Traylon Burks' knee is obviously an issue for him. Unable to play yesterday. NWI stepped up in a considerable way in yesterday's game. You just look at his productivity, 5 receptions, 51 yards, an average of 10.2, had 6 targets, had a long of 22 and a touchdown. That's the type of, if you could get that out of I know he played, wide receiver 2 yesterday, but like if you can get that out of maybe a subpar wide receiver, that's huge. And I thought he helped the offense within the offense.
Yeah, NWI has been their second best wide receiver this season. Even when Traylon Burks was playing, NWI and Chris Moore each have 134 yards. Now, Chris Moore is just averaging 33.5 yards a catch, which is insane. But NWI has 12 catches. He's averaging over 11 yards per catch. He's got 2 touchdowns. The only 2 Ryan Tannehill touchdown passes are to Nick Westbrook-Akine. But he's also got 7 first downs. And I think that's the thing that NWI has really done well that I don't think really many expected, including me. He has become a reliable asset to Ryan Tannehill on 3rd and passing, where he's been able to convert tough first downs and keep drives alive. He's had some plays where he hasn't caught the ball, so they don't show up in the box score, where he just got smoked on a play over the middle that was a 15-yard penalty against the Chargers that extended their drive. He's done some good things in the blocking game, as we know. NWI and Chris Moore are both 2 guys who are excelling at their roles so far. All you need is Burks to get healthy and to catch the football. And if Traylon Burks can get healthy and catch the football, now you've got a fully well-rounded pass-catching group with Hopkins, Burks, NWI, and Chris Moore before you even get to Chig and Tajay Spears and some others.
It's too early, and I will admit it is too early to probably say this, but when Traylon Burks returns from his knee injury, he's going to have some more pressure on him than he's had on since he was drafted. Because it's starting to become a trend. You're a first-round draft pick. You are a wide receiver. You were picked to replace A.J. Brown, who had a $175 yesterday and does A.J. Brown type things.
Yeah.
Traylon Burks, the pressure, the room's starting to heat up. That first little scoop of water has been put on the hot stones in the sauna room. And so that's where Burks has got to really work for the rest of the season, because you can't have a year 2 where NWI and or Chris Moore has a better year than you.
Yep.
You can't.
Yep. DeMario says AJ dropped passes too, but made up for it. Traylon Burks has 3 drops so far in 3 games, and one, I believe, 1 against the Saints and then 2 against the Browns. I think if he has those 3 catches that hit him in the hands that he should have caught, he's probably got 60 to 70 more yards of receiving, and that changes the narrative on him a ton if he just catches those 3 passes that he should have caught. Real quick,
and I don't know if this is 100%. Is Kyle Phillips back this week?
He is. Kyle Phillips is eligible to return this week. It doesn't mean that he will be back. He's on injured reserve, which means he has to miss 4 games minimum, which has happened now. So the Titans can have the ability to designate him to return off injured reserve. Then once you do that, you have a 21-day window before you have to either activate him to the roster or keep him on IR. But he can practice during that 21-day window of designated to return. So I don't know if that's going to happen.
I don't know what his status is, but you probably think the same thing. Probably 2 more weeks and then the bye week, and then he gets ready for
that's kind of the
Atlanta
thing
moving forward.
Because the bye week and the travel to London is all within a 21-day period right now. So I don't even know if you mess with that. You don't want to start your clock when you don't have to start your clock.
Yeah, because you're going to stop your clock.
Yeah.
You're going to start your clock, then you're going to stop the clock.
Yes. So don't make a decision before you have to make a decision. That's kind of another way to say it too. All right. So we'll kind of see how that goes. But what's funny? We've been on this show for 43 minutes today already, and I don't think we've talked near enough about Derrick Henry and his performance either. So let's talk about Derrick Henry and what he was able to do. But Zach, I also have a very fun video to play from the Titans locker room as well. But we're going to talk about Derrick Henry after I tell you everybody about the Bone and Joint Institute, boneandjointtn.org, the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care. Whenever an injury happens in life, it always is inconvenient for your life and your daily life. So make sure you don't let that linger. You don't let that mess up what you want to do and have the fun you want to have and the work and the family situations you want to do and have fun with. So go to boneandjointtn.org to make an appointment to help get that injury taken care of, get back onto your road to recovery. Check them out, boneandjointtn.org.
A to Z Sports. We're also powered by BetMGM. We love BetMGM. Use the bonus code ATOZ Sports. So the king of sportsbooks, Apple and Android App Store. Check it out today. You got Monday Night Football tonight. That's huge. We'll see what the Giants and the Seahawks. Hey, it suddenly could be a good game. I think those are even. I'm going to watch it. I'm going to be tuning in. You can be tuning in and getting on the action with BetMGM.
All right, so Zach, let's go to the Titans locker room. This video is from the Titans Twitter X account. Mike Vrabel giving out a couple game balls after the dominant 27-3 win over Cincinnati, and then we'll talk some more King Henry.
We're going to stick to the formula, okay? Speed and violence, effort and finish, and execute, elevate, and celebrate, okay, fellas? Like, that's what it is. And it's not going to be great. I mean, we dropped the ball. Tajay picked the son of a bitch, run, quarterback, help him. Like, that's what it's going to be, okay? But it's going to be this lightweight. We got to prepare. And we come out here and execute, and we celebrate, and we have a good time. Okay, Derrick Henry, second all time. Yeah! Tell that Buckeye we're coming for him, okay? Tell Eddie George we're coming for him. Okay? Miss Amy, men suck at gifts, okay? Miss Amy had a birthday. We're not very good at gifts. This is the expectations, okay? We have to, you played fast, okay? You played fast. I stand over there and I watch, and I can tell when we're playing fast and when we're not. And we were playing fast today. Derrick, Amy, break them down. Let's get it.
Hey, I just want to say, man, I'm proud of y'all boys. Love y'all boys, man. I love the resiliency y'all showed. We come up here and showed it today against these boys. Hey, Titans on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Titans!
So proud of you.
There in the locker room, Derrick and Amy, break them down. Such a funny moment of seeing that dynamic. But from being around Amy Adams-Strunk and her presence at Titans practice throughout training camp, players love Miss Amy, and you can tell by the birthday video they put out of the relationship being genuine. But I mean, Derrick Henry was an absolute beast. But Zach, I'll let you kind of.
Well, the best part of the video, in my opinion, was Vrabel just casually throwing Amy the ball like he would any other player that would receive a game ball, and the beat just went on. He didn't make sure she caught it. He just tossed it and kept talking and kept going. That's a football guy right there, right?
Yeah.
And I think she
men suck at gifts. Here you go, Amy. Woof.
Look, she caught it, and she stood there, and Vrabel's on to the next one. So I thought that was the one thing that got me, is just the nonchalant, just tossing the ball to the owner and moving on like you would a player.
Yeah.
Oh, and then Nick coming in. Look, that pressure, that sauna room, that steam room starting to heat up for Burks. I'm telling you. And that's more about the fans. Look, injuries, all that stuff will go into a player and their career and the trajectory and all of that. We knew that there was going to be pressure on Burks for being drafted in the first round. He's got to come back and show it. We know he has the ability. We've seen the glimpses, but I'm not going to say this. Well, I am going to say this. You don't want to be Corey Davis. That's what I'll say.
All right. So you heard Mike Vrabel say, Derrick Henry passing Earl Campbell for second all time in the franchise's rushing leaders. Let's hear from Derrick Henry on what that means to him, and then chasing that Buckeye Eddie George for the number 1 slot.
Yeah, I'm thankful. I'm blessed. Grateful for everything. Grateful for this opportunity. I was a kid just, that loved football, playing in my grandmother's yard in Yulee, Florida, and my opportunity to get a chance to play Pop Warner and moving up and up and up as the older I got, and to be mentioned with a name that I've heard so long as a kid. It's a surreal moment for me. I'm thankful. God is good, and I'm thankful for the people that helped me get there.
I guess Mike kidded that he said, or Eddie, that maybe you're coming for him. Did he say that to you?
He said that we were in the locker room when he was talking to us, talking to the team. Still got a long way to go, man. And Eddie was a great pinnacle for this organization, the standard for this organization, and somebody that I admire very well. And not thinking about it, just enjoying each and every day I get to do this. It's been a dream of mine, so just thankful.
So there's Derrick Henry. I think him reflecting on passing a name like Earl Campbell and then going back to grandma's backyard, high school, Yulee, to college, to what he's been able to do in the NFL was kind of fun to watch Derrick Henry just quickly go through those snapshots.
Yeah, Derrick Henry is never worried about individual accolades. He's won the Heisman Trophy. He's done it. He's trying to win a Super Bowl. I feel like that's every player's goal when they step on the field and they're professional. He also bucked the trend of undershirts. And when you look like Derrick Henry,
not
you don't
undershirts. That's just shirts. He was wearing a jacket with no shirt. It wasn't an undershirt. No shirt.
Oh, jacket. You think you and I could pull that off?
I mean, I've got a pretty sweet bomber jacket I could rock, but I don't think I'm ready for that.
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think I am either. So the bigger question is when he will do it and who he will do it for.
Well,
think
it's about passing Eddie George in the franchise. So it's
yeah.
not who he'll do it for,
That's
it's
true.
if he'll do it. Because here is
Well,
and
the
Sam,
time's ticking.
yeah, the clock is ticking for sure. Eddie George with 10,009 rushing yards with this organization. Derrick Henry is 1,389 yards away, passing Earl Campbell yesterday. He's 285 yards through 4 games this season, meaning he would have to go for 1,674 in the regular season to be able to do this. So he's got some ground to pick up there, Zach. And, that would mean he's got 13 games left, and you go 13, 89. I'll just go ahead and do the division here for us. He's got to go for 106, 107 a game the rest of the season to pass Eddie this year.
So that means one thing. He's going to have his signature 200-yard rushing game, maybe twice, maybe once, but he's going to have those 168, the 189s, the 153s, those type games to bring that percentage down. And the Titans are going to have to establish the run. Also, I think it's going to be difficult. Doesn't mean that it's not achievable because of a guy we talked about early on in the show, and Tyjae Spears, and what he does for this football team. And it's a contract year. This could be the last year Derrick Henry plays for the Tennessee Titans. I'm not saying that that's going to be the case. I don't know what next year holds. But in reality, he's only under contract for this franchise for, the remaining however many games left to go on the schedule. And if you're going to be the all-time franchise leader in rushing, you got to play for the franchise. So there's some pressure, but that was good to see him do what he did yesterday and the Titans win in the fashion that they did.
Yeah, and so Derrick Henry has averaged over 100 yards a game twice in his career. Well, not, I guess, technically 3 times in his career, but he got hurt with the broken foot early in the season. So it's kind of hard to count that towards a full season because he broke his foot. It was a stress fracture, probably because of overuse. But so 2.5 times in his career, he's averaged over 100 yards a game. It was in 2020 when he went over 2,000, and in 2022, in 2019. So those 2 seasons, 19 and 2020, when he was able to do that. So he's going to have to really switch it around because he's just averaging 71 yards a game so far. So he's going to have to be really dang good over the last 13 games to get there.
He also had a dreadful game against the Browns that it is so unlike Derrick Henry to have.
But that just makes it even more necessary for the 200-plus yard output, right? Because you got to have that even out. It's, your yards per carry hurts. Tyjae Spears had a carry for -4 yesterday, but he had the carry for 22 yards after he fumbled it that kind of evened out his yards per carry. You got to have one to operate the other to kind of even those things out. So I honestly don't think he does it this season. And so it depends on the next contract. What do the Titans do with this? It's going to be such a weird spot if he is a couple hundred yards away from Eddie George's franchise record and the Titans have a successful season. I think that's the hard thing too. If the Titans make the playoffs and Derrick's 300-ish yards away, what do you do?
This is a conversation for another day because it's a lot bigger.
Yeah.
But the Titans are in the midst. It's the reality. Derrick Henry's not going to play for the Tennessee Titans franchise forever. They are transitioning from a running football team to a new identity. I don't know what that is, but it's going to be with a new quarterback and a new running back. The good thing is that Tyjae Spears looks to be that new running back. It may not transition next year. They may sign him to a 1-year contract or a 2-year deal with an out. Who knows? But I think for the Titans' sake, and Rand Carthon, he has got to know who his future quarterback is and what style of football that they are going to play before they move on for Derrick Henry. But it's tough because your new quarterback is not going to have Derrick Henry for probably the majority of this new quarterback's career in Tennessee. So all of these things, I think, take a part in if Derrick Henry will be the all-time leading rusher. he should. Derrick Henry has done more for the new age of this franchise. I mean, Eddie George is a staple for Titan football, but Derrick Henry is as well.
Yeah, Derrick Henry called Eddie George a pinnacle. And we also know there's a relationship between Derrick Henry and Earl Campbell too. So let's reset for a second, right? Because Liz has a comment here that made me think. Derrick Henry needs to average 107 yards per game to pass Eddie George over the last 13 games of the season to be the franchise's all-time leading rusher. So Liz has a chat that says, would he ever take a one-year deal? Here's the good thing for the Titans. Who is going to give any 30-year-old running back more than a one-year deal on the open market? Hell, Saquon Barkley, Josh Jacobs, one-year deals on the team that drafted him, right? And so Zeke is a one-year deal. Derrick Henry is in that spot in his career where all he's going to get is a one-year deal. So I think that's to the Titans' benefit for negotiation of, hey, maybe Derrick's 300, 400 yards short of Eddie George, which means he's in the 1,300 yards for this season ballpark because of the split carry share between him and Spears. I think that could be a realistic compromise to do that. Your question about the quarterback play and the style is very valid, but I think Tim Kelly has showed us through 4 games he can try to be versatile and do both.
Yeah, and players move on. Derrick Henry does not seem like he's slowing down, though. Like, I think that's also a caveat to this conversation going into another year is you re-sign or you sign a player because you think that he has the skill set to help you win football games. If the Titans believe that Derrick Henry still has that, then maybe a one-year deal makes sense. They're not going to do that based on an Eddie George record, right? I'm not saying you're saying that.
Yeah.
It's just it's like a cherry on top, right? It's another thing that goes into it. But Derrick Henry, we know the Titans go as Derrick Henry goes and vice versa as of now. And that has been the case over the last several years. They have to increase their quarterback play. They've got to increase their wide receiver play and tight end play. And then they also have to increase their offensive line play. We've talked a lot of good.
Mm-hmm.
Real quick before we get to the age game, Andre Dillard. The offensive line played better as a whole, but Andre Dillard also got whipped at times. That's still a systemic problem.
Yeah, he was great on Derrick Henry's 29-yard touchdown run. He was blocking downfield 8-10 yards. He was also blocking downfield 8 to 10 yards when NWI caught a 25-yard pass and got flagged because Andre Dillard was 8-10 yards down the field blocking. What are you doing, bro? But still, he gets beat by Trey Hendrickson early, like across his face, that has Derrick Henry have a negative yard play once. But I think net Sunday versus the Bengals, Andre Dillard positive. And we haven't had that up until the point this season. Andre Dillard was a net positive yesterday.
Barely.
He gave up one sack. He gave up one sack, and the team gained 400 yards of offense. I think Andre Dillard was a net positive yesterday. 3.5 sacks against Garrett, 3 sacks against Bosa and the Chargers. He was not good against the Saints. He was net positive. That's a good step.
Let's have him have a game where he gives up no sacks.
I'm right there with you. I'm waiting for that day, maybe against the Colts. We'll see how it goes. Noah with a quick super chat. To be honest, this reminds him of an Art Smith game with the play calls. Looked like the Titans found the identity again with a modern twist. I completely agree with Noah. And Zach, like you mentioned, with the quarterback of the future and all that conversation too. I'll quote Jack Gentry from just talking to me during the Acme game yesterday. Good things happen when you run play action. And that's what the Titans did yesterday. And Noah's comment kind of goes into that Art Smith feel. But all right, Zach, let's go ahead and get to the age game. I have to hide the chat for the age game so I can try to win. Me versus the chat. Race to the correct answer for the age game. But first, Wilson County Hyundai is where you should turn to for your next car purchase. Make them a next of your car buying opportunity for Wilson County Hyundai. They will do a great job for you. They're also in Lebanon, which means you're going to save some money compared to the downtown Nashville, Davidson County price tag. And Payne Bone and his team at Wilson County Hyundai do a great job, family owned and operated for generations, and they do a fantastic job for you. So go see them in Lebanon or online at wilsoncountyhyundai.com. The age game is up next, Zach, and I have the chat hidden so I can participate fairly. Let's do it.
Yes, the age game. For those that are new, every Monday we do the age game. We ask the chat in Austin how old some person is, and you guys have to guess. Last week it was Walter Payton. This week, it actually is also an
Also Walter Payton?
Huh?
It's also Walter Payton?
No, it's not also Walter, but an older, huge figure. Derrick Henry passed Earl Campbell. How old is Earl Campbell? The first person to get this correct will be recognized. So do not Google. Just play the game along with us. Austin cannot Google, so play the same rules. But how old is Earl Campbell? Earl Campbell, as we know, drafted number 1 of 1 out of Texas by the Houston Oilers.
What year was he drafted?
I cannot tell you or disclose that to give you any hints.
I thought you were about to give me it.
But I do know it, but I'm not going to tell you that. How old is Earl Campbell, who is an all-time Oiler great? And Derrick Henry ran past him yesterday. So the first person to get this correct in the chat will be anointed our age game champion of the week. You will be showered with love and respect, be showcased on the show, and you will be this week's champion. Austin, you've gotten one correct. No, you have not. You got one correct.
I got Mike Keith right.
Yep, you got Mike Keith right. We got to keep.
This
is a tough game.
I think Mike Keith is 56. I can't remember what I guessed.
Yeah, you didn't get Mike Keith. I think you were one off.
No, I got Mike Keith right.
You did get 56?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because he's 28 when he started. It's 28 years later. I got it right.
Yeah.
I am going to say my guess for Earl Campbell is a very educated guesstimate. I think Earl Campbell is 68 years old.
68 years old.
I can explain my process, but I don't want to, give it away to the chat.
Is that your final answer?
68 is my final answer. And I have not looked at the chat. There have been over 115 comments since you've asked this. So you've got plenty of things because I can see the chat comments just accumulating because I haven't. I'm not on them. So 68 is my guess.
Let's go to the chat. The first person, I go by just chronological, who got it first, that's going to be our winner. That's why you got to be quick on the trigger, but you got to be you got to be quick, but you can't hurry. Yes. There's a difference.
Who's that? Who said that?
I just did. I don't know.
John Wooden. Be quick, don't hurry.
There you
also,
go.
Put your socks on very carefully.
First guess, James, 51. Earl Campbell is older than 51 years old. Matt goes 64. Earl Campbell is not 64. Lou Man goes 72. Lou Man, you are incorrect. He's not 72. It only took 4. And if not, look, I have the winner. But after this, it was 62, 76, 78. Bald and bearded said 71. We've got 67 from Brent, 62 from Lucas, 66, 54. I'm working from the bottom up. Mm-hmm. DeMarco says 62. But our winner and co-champions are TJ Strayhorn and Austin Stanley at 68 years old. Young. Earl Campbell, born March 29th, Tyler, Texas, 1955.
Boom! I am the smartest man alive. Nailed it. Yes.
So you and TJ are
the baby TJ. Boom. All right. So here's my philosophy on this. I'm pretty sure Earl Campbell's first season in the NFL was 1978, which means his last season in college would have been 1977. typically that's a 22-year-old season when you're a senior in college, and there was less redshirting, so less weird stuff that happened, making his birth year 1955, 2023, 68, booyah, suck it. I'm 2 for 2, or 2 out of 4, 2 and 2. Hey, that's pretty dang good though.
No, very good. You just said 2 for 2. I mean, 2 out of 4.
2 and 2, 2 and 2, 2 out of 4. I think 50% of this age game, pretty good.
Oh, yeah. Because there is no, if you guess 69 or 67, you're wrong. And we don't give grace here. You got to get it right.
I big brained the hell out of this thing. I am very proud of myself right now.
So congratulations to all that also got it correct after TJ and Austin. But you got to be quick on the trigger. You got to be quick, but can't hurry. And TJ was able to do that. He is our chat champion of the age game. And Austin also got it correct. So there you go. A little fun on a Monday.
I like, let's see. Derek R says, I like this game. Bort, I'm 500, baby, Stanley. Hey, I am well.
This is like baseball though. If you're 33%, you're a Hall of Famer.
Yes. I am very proud of myself. Hey, how about that? Off to a great start this Monday with the Titans 2-2, and I'm 2-2 in the age game. TJ, congratulations. We're going to keep building on this. But hey, we're going to have a lot of great content throughout the morning. Sam will be live for Titans at 2 later on today, so get ready for that. And also Buck Rising at A to Z Sports Primetime. So Buck Rising, A to Z Sports Primetime tonight. Sam with Titans at 2 after Mike Vrabel and Titans players speak to the media this afternoon. But make sure before you head out of here, you hit that thumbs up button. You like the show. You like the Titans win yesterday. You hit the thumbs up button both on Facebook and on YouTube. And we'll check you guys tomorrow morning on a Tuesday. Appreciate it as always.